Good morning and welcome all to another episode of Between the Posts. We look forward to providing you with the biggest updates from the results on the weekend of the Adelaide Footy League. And with finals getting so close, the results are becoming more important than ever. A lot of ladder changes this weekend, a lot of form slumps, a lot of surprise upsets, clutch moments, and also some convincing winners continuing to deliver. But Tim, what have we got on tonight?
Well, it's exciting times, Indy. As you know, we've got the Phil Herden doing his men's and women's wrap. Then, of course, Tommy Javor doing Division 1 right across the board. I'll be doing the Division 4 and Division 7 wrap, as in the absence of Tony Neal for Division 7. And finally, the Farmers League Coach of the Week award this week.
Yes, and I'll also be talking a little bit in detail about the match I witnessed last weekend at Brighton Oval on this week's episode of Indys Analytics, our segment that we do weekly where I analyse the games that I personally witness firsthand and try to pick up certain things that I noticed and remembered prominently from them. Not to mention, of course, we'll be taking a look at last week's winners for marks and goals of the week and this week's contenders. We'll also be taking a look around the league and more on today's episode of Between the Posts.
Hello everyone, I'm here to do Coach of the Week. The Farmers Leap Coach of the Week from the Farmers Leap Winery down in the Padway in the southeast. Great sponsors of the Adelaide Footy League who help us out every week. This week from the Hectorville Hounds, the Coach of the Week is Peter Turner. Mainly because the last 4 weeks, Hectorville Hounds have been on a roll. They've beaten the top 2 sides in Division 4. They're going beautifully along and they're still in with the double chance. So Peter's doing something really, really well down at Hectorville at the moment. 2 bottles of Shiraz, 2021 Shiraz, coming your way, Peter. Best wishes and keep it going.
And welcome to the weekly wrap. Tommy Javor on location at League HQ. We've had round 16 in the books, the penultimate round 17 coming up, and it is getting exciting. There's been some movement on the ladder. I'll get to that later on. There is plenty happening. Let's have a look at the games from the last round. As always, the stream team was the match of the round, and we were excited. Top place Glenunga, hosting 4th place, the reigning premiers Port District. I see Glenunga 1-12. We all thought it'd be close. But what we saw was, well, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. Glenunga 23-14, 152. Port 3-2-20. 132-point win to the Rams. Full credit to them. Well done. For Port, it was just one of those days. You ever have one of those days? I've had one of those days. One day, even on Saturday, my earpiece fell in the wee trough. It was one of those days for me. It was one of those days for Port. I was the boundary rider and I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't a great contest because Glenunga blew them away. Their star was Harry Prosser, number 32. You're going to have a look at Big Pross. His dad Steve watches the show every week. I make that joke quite regularly. Incorporate his dad into it. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all the great people that watch. 15 touches, he kicked 6 goals for. What an effort. He could bang one from 70. That's what I'm talking about. It went round 2 players, over 1, under 1, and in for a goal. And he even said, well, it's my day today. He had the most marks on the ground with 5. He also competed beautifully. 3 spoils, 2 tackles, and was in absolutely everything. Not bad for a guy who started on the bench. Let's look at the goal scorers. For Port, they were all individuals. Prosser kicked 6, 13 different goal scorers. Absolutely outstanding. The back 6 didn't trouble the scorers, but almost everyone else did. They shared it around, and it was the most complete team display in the history of the Glenunga Football Club. That's a massive call, but it was a day that will never be forgotten. It'll be hard to replicate, but that's the prototype of what it takes, and they were all connected, engaged, and on fire. As always, it's a stream team game, so I'm giving out prizes this way, that way, every way. The Archie's Award, the TJ Award for Archie Sullivan to Sammy Smith. Great post-match interview, have a look at it. Talks about the connection, how great it is to play with his brother, Sack, for the first time in 5 years. Love Sammy, coming off 3 knee reconstructions. Great to see him playing great footy. One of the key defensive posts for Glenunga, makes him a weapon down back. The Mosey Voucher Best Team Player on his birthday, Tom Bilby. That's right, also in the interview you should find out Tom Bilby. He's so committed to this club, he turned down a spot on Love Island with his friend Alex McKay from Winchester Galley. The Neo North Mouthguard player of the day was that man. It wasn't Liam Bennett, it was Lincoln Bennett. A beautiful team goal, he got on the end of it. Nice little dribble kick. Took a right-hand turn on an off break on the second bounce. It was an absolute beauty. And the New Balance voucher and Dartfish beanie went to that man, Harry Prosser. Well, let's have a look at the Dartfish stats. Don't normally have less touches than the opposition, but that wasn't the case here. 41 more disposals, 39 more effective, and their long effective disposals were clear. They took the grass, they owned the territory all day. I know Adam Jeffries was on commentary with us on the weekend while I was boundary riding. 15 inside 50s, 2 in the first quarter. It didn't get much better than that. It ended up being 62-24. So they just had the territory all day. They actually took 18 less marks to Wollonga. It speaks volumes of the way they play and how good they are in the clearances. Possession-wise was 51% to 40%. That's really lopsided. They had 15 more tackles because they had 6 more clearances and they were pretty effective clearances. 36 more hit-outs, Darcy Mitchell and Nick Wunke giving the on-ballers first use. For Port, it just simply was one of those days. Tommy Carr, get well, mate. He's hurt his knee. I don't know the results of it, but we hope that's short term. You want to see the best players out there. They were down to 17 men. I really thought Port might even steal this one. We tipped them, we said they could win. I said either team could win this. It just wasn't their day. I want to speak about Josh Ramsey, their coach. I booked with him an interview at three-quarter time. When you're 124 points down at three-quarter time, I can understand you're not willing to do an interview, but he did the interview, he was honest, he was accountable for his team's performance, and he just gave us great insight into the Port District Football Club, the quality of it. No wonder they're the premiers, and write them off at your own peril. It only takes one good week, a week's a long time in football, and they'll be back. We won't see that happen to Port again. Better players for Port, they still all tried, don't worry about that. Cooper Gaffney, he had 21. Still got a man crush on him, he's still a star. Sam Gray, 20, he had a goal day. Probably carrying a bit of a heavy knock in the third. And then Captain Sean Davidson, as a defender, was outstanding. He held his player to 1, a really, really solid effort. For Glenunga, their better players, Harry Prosser was a star. Abe Davis, 30 touches, plenty of clearances, plenty of banter as well, the big bear. Bilby outstanding, Darcy Mitchell, Nick Egar, he plays a selfless role for the club, and the tip rat Bobby Schwartz, bobbed up with 2, just did tip rat type things. He's an excitement machine, he was great to watch. Glenunga, well, if anyone doubted them, they sit top for a reason. They beat PAC next week, they finish top. Alright, let's do the next one. Upset City. Broadview, what are you doing? They win the hard ones and they don't win the ones they should win. It was Spock, 9 goals, 357, Broadview 7, 11, 53. Let's have a look at our player in focus. It's easy to follow because he's got a pineapple on his head. That's right, he wears the old-fashioned helmet, the Phil Narkle, the Stevie Curtis. Yeah, I'm old, they're old references. He's number 9 for Spock, Benny McGill, in everything. Not high volume of possession, but very effective, 14 and 93%, but 4 tackles, 4 frees, puts himself in, again, a real barometer for the Spockers and help get them over the line. Goal kickers for Spock, Charlie Dowling and Brent Russell both did some good damage, kicking 3 each, whilst in Broadview it was Cooper O'Leary and Darcy Modra with a couple. Okay, let's look at some of these Dartfish stats, and well, this is only going to give the Broadview supporters the brace and bits really when they hear this. 46 more touches, 15 more inside 50, 6 more scoring shots, 12 more marks, 4 more tackles, 7 less turnovers. You dominated possession, you had control of the game, but bad kicking is bad football. Not taking anything away from Spock. Well done, Spock. From 12 scoring shots, you kicked 9 goal 3, you got the job done. Broadview missed their chances. Another really exciting game. Vince Cosme sent me a message about how good a finish it was, but well done to Spock. They're the heartbreak kids at the moment. They come home hard, they finish strong, there's good connection. They were almost certainly going to be relegated. Now they've got a chance for finals. Well, not quite, but they could certainly finish on the same amount of games as 5th place. Let's look at the better players. We'll start with Broadview. Wazza, Sammy Denelli, he just does great things. He 31 touches. Choa Anyang, the big fella in ruck, he was great. Joe O'Leary had 28 and Day was also solid. Involves 4 Spockies. McGill, outstanding. Benny Belperio had a bit of a day out. That man, Johnny Vrodas, he's in there every week. He had 27 touches. And the 2 Jimmies, real clearance boys, Duncan and Higgins. Higgins playing in the middle. Duncan plays normally down back, up forward last week when I watched him. They had plenty of impact as well. But when you're talking about Spock, you must talk about one man, the barometer. Jordan Lockwood. Jordan Lockwood, you are still a star. Jordan Lockwood recently met Chuck Norris in a nightclub. Chuck Norris bought him drinks all night because that's what you do with Jordan Lockwood. Jordan Lockwood's stats: 8 of the best touches you've ever seen, 20 hitouts, 2 clearances, 5 spoils, 26 undefinable impacts, and ended up going home with a supermodel on Saturday night. Just your standard Jordan Lockwood day. All right, Old Iggy's and Goodwood. It was Old Iggy's. It's been a tough year. There's no doubt about it. 3-4-22. Goodwood 18-13-121. It's a 99-point win to the Saints. What could have been if they had a hung on against Scott last week? Our player in focus in footage. On the focus is Jacob, the hitman Heitman. He's number 5 for Goodwood, and he had an absolute cracker of a game. Plenty of possessions and plenty of impact all over the ground. For Goodwood, good spread of goal kickers, as you'd expect. Jade Cleveland kicked 5. Well done, Jade. He bounced back the week before. He kicked 3 or 4 points, and I bet you that would have stung him. So he's gone out, he's practiced the goal kicking. He's had an absolute beauty of a day. May or may not have got in the votes. Lockie Ryan kicked 4, and son of a gun, Connor Fowley, he kicked 3 as well. He's having a really good, consistent season, the young boy out of West Adelaide. Better players, all of those guys that kicked the goals obviously were there and thereabouts. Charlie Pridham, the left-footed dynamo, former Glenelg Junior, I think he went to Westies after that. He hits the ball at pace, his left foot's very damaging, real high possession volume as well. Ollie Jones, I like the look of that young fella. And Benny Holzbauer, who had a lot of knee problems this year, back in the best players. When Benny Holzbauer fires, Goodwood win games of footy. For Oldie, special mention to Noah Layton, he keeps battling out, and Liam Elliott Mitchell, he's been in the best players probably 7 or 8 times this year for Oldie. He certainly has a crack. All right, let's get on to Brighton and PAC. At half time, the score was PAC 8-13, Brighton 3 points. Pretty much game over right there. In the end, it was 18-19, 127. Brighton 8-3-51. A pretty comfortable 76-point win. It's a new player in focus this week. It's a defender, running halfback, former North Adelaide player as well. I didn't pick it. Number 6 from PAC, Mackenzie Slee. That's right, it rhymes. PAC, Mackenzie Slee. He had 21 touches. He's just so efficient though. He went at 90%. He had 8 marks. Let's look at the goal kickers now. My boy, the Juice, Jaden Davis with 4. Just about locked up now, the old leading goal kicker of the entire league. Well done, Juice. That is fantastic. A 19-year-old left-footed magician. And for PAC, 10 goal scorers. Pity you'd be real wrapped with that. Plenty of people bobbing up doing the damage. For Brighton, familiar name of Jared Miller chimed in with 3, whilst Ricky O had 2. For the stats, again, PAC, they're heavy possessions team. They do flick it around a lot. They run, they spread, they play wide, they do chip it around as well. So not surprising to hear 108 more effective disposals. You can't win a game of footy with 108 less effective disposals, so no surprises. 20 more inside 50s. They do build that ball and lock it in quite nicely. 27 more scoring shots, so probably could have been a lot worse than 76 points, and 67 more marks. Better players, we'll start with Brighton. Tarka, great game by Tarks. Higgins, really impressed by his statistics anyway. I haven't seen the game live myself. 19 touches at 100%, so every time he touched the ball, went to a teammate. Lockwood, I mentioned him, he kicked 2, also had 20 touches. 20 and 2, you can take that every day of the week. And I made the joke last week, it's pretty average joke, but Plenty had plenty. He had 32, he was the leading stack getter for Brighton, that's pretty impressive. For PAC, it must be hard picking best players for that team because there's a lot of players that bob up that go alright. In no particular order, Schultz, Andrew Bradley, Hayden Jolly, just 32 for Joels, not too bad. He's not a bad user of the footy. Lockie Charlton with 27. I mentioned it was great to see him in the goal kickers next week. He's had a lot of problems with injury. Has come on and done commentary stints with us. Ripper of a bloke, and Mackenzie Slee in there as well. PAC. I'm not sure if you call them the sleeping giant, but they're off to bigger fish this week when they take on in the 1v2 battle. Last but not least, just when you think it's safe, just when you think there's a dead set top 3, just when you think a team's arrived, they let you down. That's how they bloody get you every time. Sacred Heart, they had me drinking the Kool-Aid. I was guzzling it. But they went to Purdaringa and they found out there's no easy games in Division 1. Well, nearly no easy games. Teacher Galley 10-13-73, Sacred Heart 7-8-50. A 23-point win to Teacher Galley. They didn't fall ass backwards into it. They worked hard all day. They led by 22 at quarter time, 29 at half, 30 at three-quarter time to win the first three quarters, getting over the line by 23. It's good to see for the first time in footage we're going to have a look at a man, two-time Division 1 medalist, I think, from memory. Number one, well, they call him the boss or Alma, it's Alex McKay. That's right. When he's not on Love Island or The Bachelorette, he's playing bloody good footy for the team he loves, the Gullies. Alright, I'm doing it with his brother. 17 touches, 4 clearances, 5 tackles, he's in the spoils, in the smothers, but he's just such a barometer for them. He lifts them, he's an energiser bunny, and well, opposition teams hate him, that's what you want, so he must be good. Let's have a look at some, the goal kickers. I'll tell you what, Pete Personal's sort of been sitting there, going, where are the goal kickers, where are the goal kickers? Because the pistol, 5 goals. The best celebrator in the amateur football, I'm going to call the amateur, the Adelaide Footy League, the best celebrator, Pete Pistol Personal. It's one of my favourite guys to commentate, offers plenty. For shock, that man Kakuro in there with 3 was the leading, did most of the damage on the scoreboard. Looking at the stats, team-wise, using the Dartfish Stats Analytics, so it makes me sound so intelligent. 26 more effective disposals for the Gullies, 11 more marks. And in what I call a statement of intent, 20 more tackles. They hunted harder. Normally those shock boys really hunt hard, but it's no doubt that looking at who had the tackles as well, the midfield got on top and they worked hard, the Gullies. So well done to Alex McKay, Penny and the boys. Speaking of Penny, 21 more hit-outs, he led that quite beautifully. Better players, for shock, Joel Cross 22 and a goal, that's not too bad. Ranks 20, there's Cam Rankin of course, 20 touches and 6 clearances, I like that game. And Ethan Moore, wowee, 40 touches. Don't matter what sort of touches they were, 40 touches is a profound effort. I remember when I had 40 touches, the year was 2012, it took 20 games. Alright, for the Gullies, yeah, Alex McKay, outstanding. Pistol Pete with 5. His brother Jordan as well had an absolute blind, and not as high possession volume or goals, but played a role, which is super important. Robinson and Luke Brown, you probably heard of him, he had 32. Final comments of the game, I don't always do this, but I've got one here. T2 Galley, they've been up and down, they've had long patches of poor form, but that's as big a scout just about as you can get Sacred Heart, who are running red hot. Now, it's a good time to find form. Form like that for the next 6 weeks, and all of a sudden the team we didn't think was going to make finals could be our premier. Stranger things have happened. This T2 Galley has a great nucleus. If they get up and running, just watch out the rest of the competition. It's not a foregone conclusion. We may not know what we think we know. Now hang on, that's not right. We don't know what we... Never mind. Watch out for T2 Galley. I did that on purpose, by the way. Alright, the ladder. Wowee, doesn't it get interesting? There's 2 rounds to go. Alright, that's why this one's going to get long as hot, because there's been plenty to look at, plenty to study. The machinations are multi-layered. We have to unpack a minutiae of the final 2 rounds. So much can happen in here. The key thing is, it's hard not to look at both rounds, but if you're playing this week, you can only look week by week at time, those old cliches. It's so true. Every time it seems like a team looks ahead, it's all over. Let's start at the top of the ladder. Put the ladder on, please, Jimmy, if you can. Thank you. Jimmy's not here right now, but I'm sure he's going to do it for me. Glamunga, 14-2, PAC, 13.5. Now, let's forget about round 18. Essentially, this game is for top spot. That is it. They are playing each other. It's for top spot. The top 3 is set. No one can get into the top 3 that's not already there. Sacred Heart, 12-4, 64.43 percentage. That bad loss and Glamunga's huge win now means that they need to have something like a 20. What is it? It's 4%. They can't win. They're not going to win by more than what they need to get themselves in the percentage should Glamunga lose. So the top 3 is set. What we need to know is who's top, Glamunga or PAC. We'll find that out this week. 4th is also locked in, not much to say there. Port 10-6, they're 3 games clear of 5th, who's T2 Galley with 2 games to play. This is where it gets incredibly interesting. T2 Galley sit 5th, 7-9, 48.27. Broadies, 6-10, 45.28. Brighton, 6-10, 43.11. Okay, this is where I have to really get my notes out, because the question to be raised is, goodies, of course, 5.5 wins can also come in. But we're going to concentrate on the difference between percentage of 48.27 and 43.11. It's a 21 goal difference. If you're playing each other, it's a 10.5 goal difference. A lot can happen, not just in the wins, but in the percentage of these three teams this week. Then we come into the relegation zone, where Spock are 5 and 11. Now, their percentage is too far back. They're not going to win by 46 goals to come into 5th. But they can get themselves not just out of the relegation zone, but right up to 6th if they continue to play the great footy they're playing. Old Indys, 1 and 15. They're off to Div 2. So, all I do now is go through the games. I'll give you my tip and speak to why each game is so important, because every game has some real value this week. Oh, it's exciting. Tea Tree Galley and Brighton, it's at Pertaringa. Tea Tree Galley coming off a huge win at Pertaringa. If Brighton win, and it's an if, they've got, and you have to consider this, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Old Iggies, but they're losing each game by around 100 points. Brighton have Old Iggies in round 18, but they can't look ahead. Brighton must beat Tea Tree Galley. If they do, they're probably going to take their spot. It's crazy. I'm taking Tea Tree Galley. This time, they're going to cement their spot in the 5. I think. All right. Goodwood and Port. Goodwood at home. A dangerous element. They're coming off a 99-point win. Which Goodwood will we see? Port, battered, bruised, down to 17 men. Will the wounded Port bounce back, or will Goodwood ensure, A, they don't go down, B, could they make finals? It's crazy. Port for mine. St. Peter's versus Sacred Heart. Well, if you had asked me about this 2 weeks ago, I would have laughed at you. Spock are coming off 2 wins. They're at home. Sacred Heart have they've had a loss to Tea Tree Galley. If Spock win, they are out the relegation zone. What a game. The college rivals. Surely Sacred Heart bounce back. Yes, I know, Spock. I haven't tipped you again. I'm tipping the Hearts. Old Iggies and Broadies, this one's probably the only one that's probably reasonably easy to tip. It's Broadies, who have Goodwood Saints in round 18. Broadies not only need to win, they need to stick their foot on the throat. They need percentage. They need more percentage than Tea Tree Galley. Every goal matters. Every play matters in round 17. And then, I haven't got to the last one, the stream team match of the round, Glenunga versus PAC. It's 1v2, you assume the winning team finishes top. It's a fair assumption. What a round of footy it's been, what a conclusion to the season we've got. It is going to be absolutely huge. Stick with me this week. Thanks for joining me this week. Come back next week. Who knows what's going to happen this week? Footy, it's getting exciting in the Adelaide Footy League.
Hello everyone, Tim Pillion here with today's Buddy Bet. Division 4 is the specialist that I am, and therefore I'm going with the game, the 4th versus 5th. This round, round 17, 2 games before the finals, Hectorville versus Plimpton. 1 point separating both sides, definitely going to shake the finals from where we go from here. Myself, I play for Plimpton, a lot of my junior and a lot of my senior football, but I have to pick Hectorville this round because it's at Daily Oval, and I think the home ground advantage is a big part in football. So, Buddy Bet this week, Hectorville to get over Plimpton to shake the finals. And remember, as always, gamble responsibly.
It's time for this week's segment of Indys Analytics. There isn't too much new stuff to analyse when we're so close to the finals that we don't already know, but today I would like to take a little look at the more familiar aspects that we know about Prince Alfred Old Collegians, because it's not all about personnel. Obviously, you look at their on-ball mix. You look at Bradley, Chris Curran and Craig Pitt, who didn't play on the weekend, to be fair, but then Jack Trangrove, Hayden Jolly, and you think when you look at that list of players that it's pure amount of talent that's really carrying that Prince Alfred team. But it's actually system. And even though Craig Pitt didn't play on the weekend, you can tell that his coaching antics were very prominent in their dominating performance against Brighton, particularly in that first half. It is pure transition game, very reminiscent of the Geelong Cats at the AFL level, in my opinion, and the way they play their best football. It's not about winning every centre clearance. In fact, you could argue that Jolly and Trangrove and Curran probably play more off of a half-back flank for the most part, and that's intentional because it works to the benefit of their transition game. They know how to use the corridor, but they also know how to traverse the wing in quick fashion, and players like Jack Trangrove know how to kick low-darting drop punts straight to players like Jaden Davis, as you'll see from a couple of examples on screen. Now, the thing about certain teams around the major and minor leagues is that they don't have the best transition game, and even some of the biggest on-ballers who get the most stats can sometimes go with the casual mongrel type of center clearance. But Prince Alfred keep the eyes peeled. They make their kicks very quick and very difficult to intercept because of how quick they are. And even playing man-on-man defense, as we saw Brighton try to attempt on the weekend, didn't quite work to negate this impact. I'm not saying Prince Alfred are going to be premiership favourites this final series, as I'd say Glenunga and Sacred Heart are right up with their necks in the race for the flag this year. But at the same time, Prince Alfred, with the most amount of finals exposure and experience at Div 1 level out of either of those two teams, will be the most mature finals team this year, and that is proven by how well their structure works. Is there a way to stop that ball transition? Is there a way to negate the speed of it? Well, you're not going to be able to do it by getting mongrel center clearances. And that's the thing about center clearance numbers and repeat inside 50 entries, is that they're not always the most clean, and padding the stats is not going to be the solution to beating Prince Alfred. Prince Alfred don't rely on dominating key stats from the centre to be able to win games, and they don't even rely on an overly dominant ruck combination. But what they do rely on is working off of the half-back flank in quick fashion, and it keeps teams running and it exposes man-on-man system. You can't really afford to do a flood if you want to breach their defensive navigations, but playing a zone is also a bit risky on its own, and it really relies on you getting clean ball movement. So there's no formal structural solution to stopping them, but continuous pressure on their disposals and superior positioning. It's not just about man-on-man and sticking with the player all throughout. When the sharing comes off and when their ball movement slightly starts to deviate, you need those players in the vacancy to be able to expose that. So that's my analysis this week of maybe the way Prince Alfred play and the way they could or couldn't be stopped in the final series. They've definitely created a very, very high standard for their opposition teams competing for the flag to try and meet in a couple weeks' time. But that's Indys Analytics this week. I'll let you know what I spot when I go to Goodwood Oval next weekend.
And good morning everyone to the 9 News Division 4 wrap-up. Round 16 has come and gone. There's only 2 rounds to go. And right now, at this very stage, Paraka have got the minor premiership sewn up. Only 3 rounds ago, we did the last wrap-up. After 13 rounds, both Paraka and CBC Olds Collegians were at 10-3 apiece. And since then, Paraka have gone 3-0 to wrap it up. And Seabock have had a bit of a stumble and won 1 and lost 2. So with the minor premiership sewn up, the question I beg to ask is, Paraka's last 2 games are against Portland, bottom side, have not won a game, and then Plimpton at Plimpton, which will be a good lead into the finals. Do they rest some players who are sore, banged up, and just give them a week off this week to freshen up, because they've earned that opportunity now with a 4-point buffer with only 2 games to go and a healthy percentage? I say that because yesterday at the Div 1 game, I hosted the Prince Alfred Old Collegians game and noticed that Jack Trengove and Hayden Jolly were rested the week before when they played Old Iggy's, again the bottom side. And Prince Alfred came out and won by 90 points, but they were running on top of the ground yesterday and they look fresh and they look really good heading into the finals. So let's see what Paraka does in the last 2 rounds. Seabock, however, are also, I think, settled on the second position. 11 wins, 5 losses. Like I said, they've had a couple of losses in the last 2 rounds, but they finished with Morphy Park in 8th and they finished with Mitcham in 9th. So I'm hoping and thinking they should get away with 2 wins to lock up the second position. Lockleys, sitting in 3rd, 2 points back. 10 wins, 6 losses, 20 points. They've got a better percentage than Seabock, so if they stumble, they should be able to draw level and or jump them on the table. Lockleys are playing Kenilworth and Walkerville, 6th and 7th on the table, so they really can't afford to take their foot off the pedal too much. Hectorville are the team of the week for me and the side that's come the most. Like I said, 3 rounds ago, Hectorville were down in the pack with everyone else at 7 and 6. They're now 10 and 6. They've won their last 3. And 2 of those wins were against Paraka and Seabock. So basically they've beaten the two top sides in the last 3 rounds. They are flying. But again, Plympton this week, the 5th side. They're 4th, Plympton are 5th. 1 point apiece. This is the game of the round. This is the one that'll tell everything. If Hectorville continue their role, they'll finish 4th, locks away at home, qualifying elimination final, and then Plympton are the ones in danger as they've got a couple of hard games to finish with. So Hectorville are going really well at the moment. Plympton, 19 points. They had that draw earlier in the season, which is where that odd thing comes out. Their percentage is better than Hectorville's, but the points will be the difference on this occasion. They finished with Hectorville and then Paraka, top side. So a hard run home for Plympton. But it looks like, and I think they might have the 5th final spot locked up. If that's not the case, there's only one team that can take it away from them at the moment, and that's Kenilworth in 6th spot. They're on 16 points, Plympton are on 19. There's a 3-point buffer. But if Plympton stumble and lose to Hectorville and Paraka, and Kenilworth can get over Lockleys and finish with Portland in the last game, they'll jump them. And that's the only way the 5 can be uprooted at this stage. So at this stage, Paraka are locked up the minor premiership in Div 4. Well done to them. Let's all keep eyes on them. At the other end of the table, you've got our 2 relegated teams, unfortunately being Mitcham and Portland, and they can't get away from the relegation zone, so they'll be heading down to Div 5 next season. Goal kickers for Division 4 right at this very moment. We've got Brett Simpson leading the way from Seabock on 52, Ben Hurren from Lockleys on 50, James Boston, Walkerville on 46, and then the next load of players is a couple on 38. They're not going to catch it. So the goal kicking award will be between those 3, with only 6 goals separating first to third. 2 games to go. The better players to watch for and who's been playing well at this stage. Interesting point. I'll get to it at the end. Daniel Fairbrother, Hectorville, has been in the best players 14 out of 16 rounds. Bowen Hoskin, Lockleys, 13. Brady's War, Walkerville, 10. Nathan Caruso, Plympton, 9. Jordan Wilson King, Kenilworth, 9. Sam Walker, Morphy Parks, 9. Out of all the teams I've just mentioned there, no one from Paraka or CBC Old Collegians, which basically means their better players are being shared around, which is more the team football, which gets you through to finals and wins premierships. So it's a really interesting division, the Channel 9 News Division 4 competition this year. With the halfway mark and round 13, anyone could have gone anywhere. It's just starting to show its teeth as to who's on the top and who's on the bottom, but there's still more to come. I look forward to catching up with you in the first week of the finals, and let's see where Division 4 takes us.
Well, good day, footy fans, and thanks to ONeill Sportswear. Welcome to the Women's Wrap. A look at all the women's footy results and ladders across the Adelaide Footy League from Saturday, August the 12th. The minor round is done, and for some divisions, they're well into finals. Let's take a look at all the results. Starting with the Village Bakery Division 6. End of the minor round last weekend. That were the standings. Golden Grove and Marion in the first semi. Athelston Tea Tree Galley in the second. Let's have a look at how it all panned out. And in the first semi-final at Harpers Field, Golden Grove stayed alive, knocking out Marion by 10 points. Marion had a quarter-time lead, but from there it was 4 goals 4 to 2 goals 3. Golden Grove moved to the preliminary final, and Marion's season is done. In the second semi-final, it was pretty much Athelston from go to O. The Raggies, one of the first teams to qualify for a grand final this season. Tea Tree Gully get a second shot. So the final 2 matches in the Village Bakery Division 6 next Saturday. Check Play HQ for venues and times, but Tea Tree Gully should be hosting Golden Grove for a spot in the grand final against the Raggies of Athelston next Saturday, August 26. Again, venues to be announced. Check Play HQ for those details in the Village Bakery Division 6. For the Parry Division 5, there was still some final minor round games in Elizabeth, their last forfeit of the season. Loretto beat Edwardstown by 12 points. North Haven beat Salisbury North by 44, and Woodville South beat Kilburn by 35. Edwardstown needed to win to have any chance of finals. When they went down, the top 4 was settled. Now, according to Play HQ, and I've checked it and done this, Modbury didn't get any points for the forfeit. Loretto were top, Modbury is second. However it pans out, Loretto are playing Modbury second semi-final next week. It's Woodville versus North Haven. Edwardstown, in the end, fell a game and a half shy. Then it drops to Kilburn, Salisbury North, and Elizabeth will be glad they no longer have to forfeit. Division 5, first semi-final, Woodville South and North Haven. Second semi-final to get a spot in the granny, Loretto and Modbury. Where, when, that is to be announced. The Mouthguards Division 4 hit the finals yesterday. Hectorville and Eastern Park finished top 2. Lockleys, if you remember, just snuck into the 4 at the death, knocking out Scotch Old Collegians. So the first semi-final, it was Mitcham keeping Lockleys scoreless. Mitcham scored their first goal in the second quarter. Still a 5-point game at three-quarter time. Mitcham kicked the last couple to seal the deal. Second semi-final really was one-way traffic at Max Amber Sportsfield. On this occasion, Hectorville beat Eastern Park by 31 points. So the Hounds of Hectorville are off to the grand final. Eastern Park get a second dip. They will play Mitcham next week. That's the preliminary final. The winner of Eastern Park and Mitcham get a date with Hectorville in the Nearmouth Mouthguards Division 4 Grand Final on the 26th of August. To the 9 News Division 3, and here a little bit of a gremlins crept in. We don't know the result of Hope Valley and Pulteney. Do know that Flinders Park beat Jeps Cross by 45. Pembroke beat Kenilworth Flinders by 76. So, unfortunately, that Hope Valley Pulteney game leaves things a little bit awry. Pembroke have probably jumped into the top 2 with their win, but I'm just 100% sure. So, really check Play HQ in the 9 News Division 3 as we get that result from Hope Valley Pulteney. From that, get a final ladder, and from that, get our finals matchup. But the top 4, no doubt, is settled for Jeps Cross, Salisbury, and Kenilworth Flinders Uni. Season is now done. On to Division 2, which played some finals, and you can see the ladder there. Westminster Golden Grove in the first semi, Tea Tree Galley Goodwood Saints in the second. So who did well? It was Golden Grove in the first semi, staying alive. Once Westminster got their first goal in the second quarter, Golden Grove already had 3. Maintained that buffer in a goalless second half. Golden Grove kicked 1 point. Westminster kicked nothing in the entirety of the second half. That's finals footy. Golden Grove for the prelim. Westminster season is done. In the second semi, Goodwood Saints trailing by 3 points at quarter time got their act together in the second quarter up at Pertaringa, and it's the Goodwood Saints in, I think, one of the only women's finals where the lower ranked team got up. Goodwood Saints 5-6-36, 20-point winners over Tea Tree Galley. So the Saints, they're in the grand final already. Tea Tree Galley get a second shot. They will host Golden Grove for the right to meet Goodwood Saints. So Golden Grove, Tea Tree Galley, Golden Grove in the prelim. Winner plays Goodwood Saints on August the 26th. Which takes us to the Div 1 reserves, and Payneham Northern Union remained unbeaten, held Henley scoreless. Broadview, easy win over Morphy Parks. Adelaide Uni and Old Ignatians in a low-scoring one by 8 points. And in the big battle, the winner going into the finals, the Vikings, the Happy Valley Vikings at home, down Smosh by 32 points. Which means Happy Valley jump Smosh into the 4 at the death to take a finals berth. Payneham Norwood Union, undefeated side, 92.61%. That's a heck of a minor round. Smosh, Henley, Adelaide Uni, Old Ignatians will observe the final series from the sidelines. It all starts this Saturday the 19th, Morphettville Park and Happy Valley. In the first semi, knockout. Second semi for a grand final spot. Payneham Norwood Union and Broadview, first versus second. Play HQ is the place to go to check it out. That just leaves Division 1. And here, Payneham Norwood Union finished their season strongly, 38-point winners over Henley. And Morphy Parks took care of Broadview by 27 points, which makes the finals kind of interesting when you extrapolate all this in a sec. Adelaide Uni beat Old Ignatians, and Happy Valley almost got off the bottom of the ladder, but did get their second win, 33 points over Smosh West Lakes. The ladder here, the final minor round ladder. Broadview still top, Payneham North despite the loss, but look at that, half a win between first, second and third. The finals are going to be something else. And Henley, well, they'd had a decent run before they ran into a freight train called Payneham Norwood Union yesterday. Smosh, 3 games out of the 5. Adelaide Uni, a further game back. And Old Ignatians and Happy Valley in their own race in the end for the wooden spoon. Old Ignatians just one, avoiding it by about 0.66 of 1%. The finals, Morphy Bull Park will play Henley. That is 3rd versus 4th in the knockout final. Broadview and Payneham Norwood Union should be a great one. That will be the second semi. Winner gets an early berth in the grand final. Loser gets a second chance. So there you have it, folks. Finals underway. Now, in all divisions, I think there's something like just 25 teams left playing. And we've already got 3 teams in a grand final. Goody Saints in Div 2, Hectorville Division 4, and Athelston in Division 6. So some premierships not too far away for someone. So thanks to ONeill Sportswear for their support of this segment. Thanks to you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy your finals footy.
Good morning again, everyone. Tim Pillion here with the C-Match Clinical Research Division 7 wrap. Taking over from Tony Neal, who's currently away, so I'll give it my best go. 16 rounds down and only 1 round to go in the Division 7. Ingle Farm have wrapped up the minor premiership well and truly with their 15 wins, 1 loss. Heading into the finals, they'll get the first week off. They're well clear of Para Hills, who are sitting on second, 12 wins and 4 losses. There's a 6-point gap there. Para Hills also have a healthy percentage. They've wrapped up the second position, no problems there. Heading down to third is Houghton Districts, who are on 20 points, and O'Sullivan beats Lonsdale on 4th on 18 points. Now, there could be a swap between those 2 teams, but with the percentages the way they are, I can't see that happening. So I think the top 4 are locked away. Ingle Farm, Para Hills, Houghton Districts, O'Sullivan beats Lonsdale. 5th position, however, though, is still up for grabs. We've got Flinders Uni on 14 and Mitchell Park on 13. And with 1 game to go, they're both playing lesser sides. Hackham, who are 8th, Mawson Lakes, who are 7th, therefore second bottom. But if both of them win, it'll remain as Flinders Uni. If one of them stumbles, that other team will jump into the final 5, and the finals will be away. The interesting thing about this is that Ingle Farm played Para Hills last round. First versus second, last round, and Ingle Farm got up by 65 points. So there might be a gap there between the sides. 3rd and 4th, Houghton Districts, O'Sullivan Beach, also played each other last round. Houghton Districts got up by 36 points. So there could be some clear indication of the gap in the competition in Division 7, but you never know. Finals throws up something different every time. So I want to talk to you about that, but that's just how it goes. The greatest interest in Division 7 right now is the goal kicking. We have Daniel Wheatra from Para Hills, right now, 1 round to go, sitting on 99 goals. 99 goals, guys. Absolutely 1 round to go. He has, in 16 games, averaged 6.2 goals a game, which is about 1.6 goals a quarter. Of every quarter he plays, he's kicking goals. That is absolutely unbelievable. Terrell Rigney, Ingle Farm on 55. Austin Worst, O'Sullivan Beach, Lonsdale 54. But it's all on Daniel Wheatra to kick the ton this week. The better players, as we talk about, again, I'll do the same as I did in Div 4. Ryan O'Leary, Hackham, 12 out of 16 rounds, he's been named in the best players. Luke Allen from Hackham, 11 times. Anthony Jenkinson, Mawson Lakes, 11 times. Harrison Keisler, O'Sullivan Beach, Lonsdale, 11 times. And Matthew Tassel, Mitchell Park, 10 times. And again, as I mentioned before, no Ingle Farm or Para Hills player that high in the better players every week, which means they've got more of a team focus going forward. However, let's have a look. Division 7, all sewn up at this stage. A lot of interest in 5th position. That's the one we're looking for with 1 round to go. Daniel Wheatro, good luck kicking your 100th goal this week. I hope it goes well. And that's Division 7 wrap. Looking forward to Tony getting back in a week's time.
It's time to take a look around the league to see what's been happening off the field with some of the players and coaches and some of the award recipients that have also happened off the field, because Tom Wren this week went to the Henley Sharks Football Club, where he gave the club itself the $500 Police Credit Union voucher. And there's also Gary Ashton, who received the Powerade Ambassador Award. So congratulations to him and the Henley Sharks Football Club, Tim.
Look, they also had the 5AA kick for cash down there. And we had our two participants being Kayla Robran and Jack West. They both had the kick, and unfortunately, no cigar. So once again, no one has yet got this into the barrel as they want to do. Also, the West End Player of the Week is from Payneham Norwood Union.
Yes, so thank you very much to all those, and congratulations to all of those, more importantly, who won some of the awards, and obviously applause to those who contended for the awards themselves. We're going to need to start a clinic for that 5AA kick for cash. We're really going to have to start training people up for that. But also thanks to our sponsors in 9 News, Adelaide Police Credit Union, Villy's Bakery, SA Gourmet Meats, West End Powerade, and 5AA. Every week we have exciting marks and goals, but only one can win mark and goal of the week each week. Tim, who are last week's winners for goal and mark?
Thanks, Indy. So, goal of the week last week goes to Reece Clark from Mitchell Park. What you'll see here on the highlights is that the ball was on the half-forward flank. It was very much a team goal in some instances, with Reece being the finisher with a fantastic little dribble through the goals. With mark of the week, it's a bit different. The Bianco $100 voucher this week goes to Jarman Segal. And I'm led to believe Indy might have won it 2 previous times, so it's his 3rd time that he's won it. Does fly very high for his marks, but this game was at Glenelg Oval. It was the Brighton game versus Sacred Heart Old Collegians. Shocks had the ball, kicking him long to the goal square, and Jarman Segal, as a key defender, jumps high, leaps across in front of the pack, and takes a fantastic mark, worthy of the $100 voucher from Bianco's.
Yes, congratulations to both the goal and mark of the week winners from last week. But it's time to go out with the old for the moment and take a look at the new nominations, that is, from this week's marks and goals.
Side. We're in the 47, once worn by Ola Renshaw from the Essendon Football Club in a grand final. What a goal! What a magnificent goal!
Well, g'day footy fans, and thanks to ONeill Sportswear. Welcome to the weekend wrap. A look at all the men's A-grade results and ladders across the Adelaide Footy League from Saturday, August the 12th. Let's start CMAX Clinical Research Division 7, where they've only got one minor round game left after this. Ingle Farm clinched the minor premiership, 21-point winners over OSB Lonsdale. Houghton, surprise win, almost locked up the double chance, 7-point winners at the Paddocks of Para Hills. Mitchell Park stayed in finals contention, hammering Hackham by 70, and Flinders University stayed in the 5, 17-point winners over Mawson Lake. So with one minor round left, you can see Ingle Farm 15-1, can't be caught at the top. Para Hills, they're going to host the second semi-final. Houghton Districts, they've got a really good chance of being there, a game and percentage ahead now of Houghton. And Flinders remains half a game ahead of Mitchell Park. Mawson Lakes, half a game ahead of Hackham. So what does this mean for the final round? Well, it really is a situation where Eagle Farm play Houghton. So Houghton, if they win, would lock up third. Para Hills play OSB Lonsdale. So to make third, OSB Lonsdale have to win, rely on Houghton to lose, and somehow make up 4%, which at this stage of the season is kind of tricky. Flinders University Mitchell Park for the 5th and final playoff spot. Percentage irrelevant with the draw into the equation. Unless Flinders Park manage to draw, then it gets kind of interesting. Mitchell Park play Mawson Lakes, have to win that, and Hackham play Flinders Uni. Hackham have to draw or win that for Mitchell Park to have a hope. And if Hackham want to get off the bottom, they have to obviously win, or they would have to win with their better percentage and hope that Mawson Lakes get beat by Mitchell Park. So everyone but maybe Ingle Farm and Para Hills playing for something in the final minor round games of the CMAX Clinical Research Division 7. On to the ONeill Sportswear Division 6, round 16 of 18. And look at that score of Rosewater over Brahma Lodge. 43 goals, 29, 287. Let's break up some numbers for you. Rosewater kicked 8 goals, 7-0 to lead by 55 points at the first quarter. They kicked a measly 4 goals, 8 to lead by 74 points at the half. Then in the second half, they kicked a total of 31 goals, 14 in a half. 15 goals, 8, that's 98. In the third, and 16 goals, 6, that's 102, to eventually win by 262 points. 13 individual goal scorers, 10 multiple goal scorers, Jason Cooper with 12. All right, let's move on. And St. Paul's, an upset here, beating a team in the 4, Green Acres. St. Paul's winning by 4 points there, even despite the fact having 6 less scoring shots and being on the road. Elsewhere, Salisbury locked in their final spot, 54-point winners, moved up to second with Green Acres loss. Central United took care of Smithfield. The Cats now officially relegated to Div 7. And in a battle between two teams in the top 5, Marion were inaccurate, especially compared with Fitzroy, but they also had 23 more scoring shots en route to a 43-point victory. So with 2 rounds to go, here's the ladder, and Marion have locked in the minor premiership. Salisbury, Green Acres have locked, and Fitzroy for that matter, have locked in a finals berth. Going to be pretty tricky for the Roys to get into the top 3 from here. Adelaide Lutheran's loss compared with Central United's win and Rosewater's percentage booster means that there's a little bit of a logjam for 5th. Rosewater, despite that win, still have a lot of percentage to make up, and I doubt they can do it in 2 games. So it's really maybe between Adelaide Lutheran and Central United. The big game this week is Marion hosting Adelaide Lutheran 1st versus 5th. St. Paul's are in no man's land now. They can't play finals, they can't be relegated. That's because Smithfield were officially relegated with their loss and St. Paul's win, which was one of the upsets of the round. On to the Wakefield Sports Clinic Division 5. Speaking of upsets, Kilburn knocked off the previously unbeaten Jeps Cross. We do not have an unbeaten team in the A grade of both the men's and women's comp this season. Colonel Lake Gardens maintained 3rd, 23-point winner over Pulteney. Trinity took care of Eastern Park by 23, and West Croydon beat Elizabeth by 68. So 4 of the top 5 won, Kilburn and Jeps Cross played each other, so you couldn't have 5 from 5. The critical battle down the bottom of the ladder, Woodville South and Blackfriars to avoid relegation. The Cats got up 31 scoring shots to 20, 18 goals to 12, 41-point winners, exactly what Woodville South needed. The ladder, well, Jeps Cross can still be caught for Kilburn despite the fact the Rams have only lost one game this year. Colonel Light Gardens 12-4, all but have a double chance sewn up. Trinity all but have 4th spot and a hosting elimination final sewn up, and West Croydon have all but a finals berth sewn up. Each of those margins, 2 wins and some decent percentage between them. The Elizabeth, despite, they're still not safe. If both Woodville South and Blackfriars get a win in their last 2 games, they would jump Elizabeth at the moment. So the Eagles not yet safe. But Woodville South for the moment are, beating on Blackfriars and jumping them into 8th spot. Blackfriars and Eastern Park in the relegation zone. Eastern Park not officially relegated. They're going to have to get 2 wins to see out the season and hope that Blackfriars and Woodville South don't find any more. The Div 5 game of the day is going to be at Colonel Light Gardens, where the Lions host the Jeps Cross Rams, looking to keep their losing streak to just 1. 9 News, Division 4. Hectorville over Mitcham, that sealed the Hawks' fate by 14 points. Christian Roselle Collegians put a dent in Walkerville's finals hope with a 10-point win. Lockley's absolutely smashed Portland by 161. Paraka, I think, kicked Morphettville Park out of finals contention with a 57-point win. And probably a key one between 5th and 6th, Plimpton gave themselves a little bit of breathing room with an 18-point victory over the Kookaburras at the Kenilworth at St Mary's Park. The ladder in the 9 News Division 4 has Paraka now 2 games on top, minor premiership all but locked away. CBCL Collegians, not quite double chance secured if Lockleys and Hectorville, or even Plimpton for that matter, could bypass the Dolphins if they have a hiccup in the last couple of games. Plimpton are in the 5, a game and a half at Kenilworth with 2 to go. Walkerville still a slim chance, 2 games out with 2 to play. Morphy Parks can't get there, and Mitcham can't get out of the relegation zone, so they're going down along with Portland. The games of note in Division 4 next week, Kenilworth and Lockleys is 3rd travelling to 6th, and Hectorville and Plimpton is 4th versus 5th. So a bit of action in the middle of that ladder to see us out in the 9 News Division 4. Those games, of course, absolutely next week. To Division 3, and here Flinders Park, easy winners over Seaton. Undy Mercedes Jets, easy winners over Westminster. Scotch, not so easy winners over Smosh. Smosh gave them all they could handle. Pembroke, 43-point winners over Gazer, doubling their score. And Modbury, 87 points over Hope Valley in a key battle in the top 4. The ladder, with 2 rounds to go, sees the minor premiership could go to Modbury, Undy Mercedes, and in a major shock, Hope Valley. Flinders Park could still finish top 3. Scotch can't, so they're in the elimination final if they get there, but Pembroke are just half a game back, breathing down their necks. Seaton Ramblers should be safe. Smosh should be safe. They need 1 more win or 1 more Westminster loss in the last 2 games, and Gazer have already been relegated from last week. The big games in Division 3, Modbury and Scotch is 1st versus 5th. Flinders Park and Hope Valley, that's probably for 3rd spot, you would think. And Westminster versus Seaton, last chance, one of the last chance for the Dragons. If they lose that, they're going down. And Pembroke versus Smosh, Pembroke need to win that to keep the pressure on Scotch, who face the league leaders. So we could see Pembroke and Scotch change positions this time next week. That's, of course, in Division 3. Breakthrough Mental Health Foundation, Division 2. I stuffed up Salisbury North last week. Sorry to Hawks fans. Your upset was in the women's, not in the men's. Would love to say something nice, but then there's this score, so I'll save that for another week. Payneham Norwood Union, easy 43-point winners. Foss Camden, top 3 spot, looking pretty good for the Phantoms, 49-point winners. That's a big dent in Edwardstown's finals chances because Rocks got over Adelaide Uni by 11 points to break away from Salisbury North and Edwardstown. Golden Grove, minor premiers, looks beckoning, 73 points over North Haven. And Athelston didn't do Henley's chances of avoiding relegation any good. The Raggies winning there by 22 points. So the Div 2 ladder with 2 games to play. Golden Grove mathematically can't win the minor premiership, but then there's reality, can't see it happening. Payneham Norwood Union second, 1 game ahead of Foss. That should be the top 3. 2 games back to Athelston and Rocks. Salisbury North is out. Edwardstown is a game further back. Adelaide Uni and Henley, they're battling for 1 survival spot. Adelaide Uni's better percentages helping them at the moment. And North Haven, well, they're only they're 7% behind, so they probably need to win both their remaining games. The games left in Division 2 this weekend. Athelston are hosting Adelaide University, Edwardstown against Golden Grove, Salisbury North against Henley, and North Haven against Rocks. The final game, probably the game of the round, it is third versus second, Foss Camden hosting the Falcons of Payneham Norwood Union. That just leaves Division 1 and some surprises here. St Peter's beating Broadview. 18 scoring shots to 12, but if you kick them accurately, you can make a difference. That's what Spock did, 4-point winners. Goodwood Saints all over Old Ignatius to win by 99. Brighton goalless, I think, in the first half. Prince Alfred easy winners by 76 points. The stream team was at Glenunga. It was absolute one-way traffic. Port District 1 goal for the second half. 132-point winners that game. Well done to the Rams. And well done to Tea Tree Gully, who got the win they probably needed to get to ensure they're playing finals. And it was a bit of a scalp too. Sacred Heart Old Collegians, that's their biggest loss, margin-wise, and also probably the most disappointing. They would have expected to have won at Pertaringa. So the ladder still has Glenunga, half a game ahead of Prince Alfred. Sacred Heart could win their last 2, need a bit of a miracle, but not out of contention for a minor premiership. As Port District mathematically could still make top 3, but gee, that's 12 percentage points to make up. Won't be happening. And 3 going back to Tea Tree Gully. So the top 4, Glenunga, Prince Alfred, Sacred Heart and Port District, have all qualified for the finals. Tea Tree Gully back with a bang. They now have a 1-game lead and percentage over Broadview and Brighton, who suddenly look in the rearview mirror and coming up fast behind them, Goodwood Saints and St Peter's. Broadview and Brighton are not out of relegation trouble just yet. Thought they were, but they've lost their last 3 or something. So they've gone from 6 and 7 to 6 and 10. They both play Old Ignatius, so they both should get that 7th win that'll put them into a pretty large degree of safety. Goody Saints with the half-game lead over St Peter's. We've got to keep winning everything. And this will be the tricky one for Spock. They're hosting Shock, Sacred Heart, this weekend. Tea Tree Gully and the Brighton Bombers is huge. That's 2 of the 3 teams battling for a finals berth. One's got to lose. Old Ignatians are hosting Broadview. So a chance for Broadview to jump Tea Tree Gully if they go down to Brighton, or Brighton to jump Tea Tree Gully if they make a big win. Elsewhere, Goodwood Saints and Port District, they were semi-finalists last year, if I remember rightly. Second semi-finalists. Won't be doing that this year. And then its last game, this is a cracker. This is the game we've been waiting for a while. Top-ranked Glenunga, second-ranked Prince Alfred at Webb Oval. It'll be streamed. If you can't get there, make sure you tune in. Phil's Team of the Week, honourable mention to St Paul's. Had this result not have occurred, St Paul's would have been the Team of the Week. Apologies. Your upset win over Green Acres was the calibre of Phil's Team of the Week. But I'm going to give this to a team that knocked off the last undefeated side, and that is Kilburn. since Chips Cross beat them, I don't think the Chicks have had a loss, and they've had some big wins. Div 5, they took down last undefeated A-grade side, Chips Cross by 57 points. So to Kilburn, well done. Alrighty, that's a wrap on the weekend wrap. The finals are coming ever closer. 2 games left before the major round, unless you're in Div 7, and then it's only 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks to ONeill Sportswear. Until next week's report, I hope you enjoy your footy.
We're in the 47, once worn by Oliver Renshaw from the Essendon Football Club in a grand final. What a goal! What a magnificent goal!
Swings out under the right boot. Looks pretty good. Coming back. I think it's gone through for a goal.
Best kick, leans right back on a beautiful kick, magnificent goal. Vanderjute slots his first.
Well, it's come that time again to wrap up this week's episode of Between the Posts and prepare the right amount of coverage for next week, because we got plenty more episodes to come, both during the home and away season and for the final series as well. Don't worry, Between the Posts won't be going anywhere for that. But thank you for joining me today, Tim Pillion. It was good to work with you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Indy. Look, thank you to everyone, all our participants today. Thank you all our sponsors that keeps this going every week in, week out.
And remember, you can always find us on social media through the official Adelaide Footy League Facebook page, the Filming Footy YouTube channel, live streams all of the Adelaide Footy League home and away matches in Division 1 every week, and we'll also upload footage for the pre-recorded matches from other divisions. So go there if you want to watch the games, and whether or not you can watch them live or you need to watch them on replay is completely up to you. Otherwise, follow us on social media where you can, and thank you very much for your time today. We hope to be back next week, and we look forward to some more finals shaping football in this next fortnight.
I'm Tim Pillion, and you've been watching Between the Posts. Go back, Phil.